Hi guys, today I'll discuss my exciting theory on the real purpose of the mysterious Longyou Caves, which are at least 2,000 years old. My new theory, which I present here for the first time, perfectly answers major questions about this site. These mind-blowing caves have baffled historians since their discovery in 1992. Who created them? And why were they built? In my previous video, I presented evidence on why I believe these caves were machine-made by an advanced ancient civilization. Click above to watch that one. I will share my new findings in this video. A heads up, the answer to why these caves were built has been hidden in plain sight.
Despite the size differentiation, the Longyou Caves are very similar. Each cave looks like a grand hall with a small entryway, oversized stairs, a sloped ceiling, and one or more sunken holes in the middle. You can imagine someone using these caves for ballroom dancing or hosting a huge charity event. In my previous video, I showed what the caves look like at the ground level. These small, shallow-looking ponds are the only entrance to the caves. For centuries, local villagers used the pond's fresh water because it never went dry and the water level remains the same. In 1992, a local farmer was fishing here and caught a big fish. His friends were surprised and thought there could be more fish and possibly treasures in the pond. So they set up a pump and pumped for 17 consecutive days and nights. A big cave appeared. This is how Longyou Caves were discovered. When the villagers finally drained the caves, they found neither fish nor treasure. The caves were completely empty. Where did the fish go? Are there any other openings in the caves that might explain where the fish went? It seems unlikely since people can now walk to the bottom of the caves. Yet what about these rectangular sunken areas? Could they be a key to unravel this mystery? We see from photos that these sunken areas are filled with water like small pools. For now, I will call them pools. The average depth of each pool is 5 meters or 16 feet. The pool water is naturally formed within the caves and not maintained by anyone. Today, the cave water must be pumped out weekly or the caves will flood. This clearly indicates the presence of an underground stream or aquifer. Longyou Caves are located on a small hill and very close to a river. So it's highly unlikely that the caves are connected to the river. By the way, the other site, which is similar to Longyou, is also located near a river. Scholars describe the cave's 4 walls as having 2 walls of carved stone and 2 walls assembled with stone blocks. The stone blocks are more permeable than sandstone, so water can transfer. The ancient builders could have easily carved out the entire pool with only stone, but chose not to. There must be a reason why the pools were constructed in this particular way. I couldn't find information on the pool bottoms, by the way. In all likelihood, the pool bottoms are not a solid piece, which explains why there were no fish found. The lucky fish must have escaped there as the water began to drain. So why were stone blocks used at these pools? This interesting feature reminded me of another structure used in ancient times, water wells. The bottom part of a well also uses porous material such as gravel to withdraw water from an aquifer. If these pools in Longyou Caves served as water wells, that would match up with the fact that Longyou Caves were built on top of an underground aquifer. I believe the original ancient builders specifically chose the cave's location with full understanding of the hydrogeography. It's not a coincidence that the caves have access to a continuous water supply even today.
This leads to one of the most challenging questions. What were these caves built for? What was their intended purpose?
Current theories state the caves were made by manual labor and served as a quarry, or a tomb, or a king's palace, or storages, or a hiding place. These theories are not accepted by a majority of scholars because none of them can explain the unique characteristics of the Longyou Caves, such as why the caves have no signs of oil lamps or torches, accessible entryways, normal-sized stairs, living quarters, or why didn't the masons quarry the stone on the ground, which would have been much safer and easier. All the caves, despite their size differences, have similar layouts and structural features. So consistent, we might think of current-day residential developments, which have clusters of uniformed houses. Were the Longyou Caves dwellings then? I say no.
Let's compare the Longyou Caves with other famous cave systems, which are known for their residential usage.
Here I'm showing Debunking in Turkey. Debunking is a complicated multi-level cave system where all rooms and stairs are human scale and interconnected like a neighborhood. Here is another cave house in Turkey. Here are cave houses in Spain, some of which are still used as dwellings today. And here is a cave house in Italy. We can see the caves in Italy, Turkey, and Spain are all close to human scale with evidence of people having once lived in them. Each of these cave houses has its own entryway, bedroom, kitchen, and living area. But all the Longyou Caves have only one cavernous space. Why is that? Even in prehistory time, people built houses with different rooms for separate functions. Even if the Longyou Caves were built by giants still need to sleep, cook, and raise a family.
For this reason, I don't believe the Longyou Caves were made for residential living. The caves had another very specific and obvious purpose. As I mentioned earlier, today many of the Longyou Caves remain filled with water, and open caves must be pumped weekly to stay dry. So what if these caves were actually designed and built to collect and store water, like ancient wells and cisterns?
The technology of cisterns can be traced back to prehistoric times. A cistern is different from a well. A well provides access to groundwater in aquifers, while a cistern was used to store large amounts of rainwater. By the way, we still use cisterns today, such as water towers, water tanks, and covered reservoirs, which are essential to daily living.
I conclude that the Longyou Caves were intended for water collection and were built by a lost prehistory civilization with machinery.
These caves work as a combination of well and cistern, which can withdraw water from underground aquifers like a well, and also store water like a cistern. Let me show you photos of ancient cisterns. Here are photos of municipal water cisterns in Istanbul, Paris, Copenhagen, and Jordan, which are dated to Middle Ages or earlier. Underground cisterns are capable of holding more water, and since they are insulated by rock, they lose much less water through evaporation. Stairs in these cisterns provide easier access to the water and can be used for maintenance, such as getting to the bottom to clean the rock filters or sludge accumulation. Here are a few photos of a cistern in Masada, Israel. Don't you agree that the scale of these cisterns is similar to that of the Longyou Caves? The sloped bottom of Longyou Caves could be an ideal feature to allow leaves or a thicker material like sludge to discharge completely and also facilitate cleaning. This well-planned feature works like today's sloped-bottom tanks. As for why the caves are in various sizes, maybe they were used for different purposes, such as household and agriculture needs, which would require different amounts of water. And maybe individual caves were owned by different ancient companies or families. Therefore, I believe the Longyou Caves are an ancient combination of cisterns and wells.
Using my new theory, we can comfortably explain almost every feature and characteristic of Longyou Caves,
such as its giant scale, the small entryways, the single enormous empty spaces, the stairs going down, the sloped bottoms, no signs of wear and tear, no signs of a lighting system, no signs of any human quarters, no furniture or artifacts, and no connection between caves. My theory even explains why fish were not found once the caves were drained. The most stunning thing is, these cisterns still function today, as they were originally intended thousands of years ago. Truly amazing, considering how ancient these caves are.
With advancing technology, new evidence leads to amazing discoveries, which reveal the purpose behind ancient sites. Old theories change, new theories develop, transforming our thinking about the past. We live in an incredible era full of cutting-edge tools that help us explore and uncover hidden mysteries. Looking beyond 6,000 years, we can now picture incredible technologies having built these magnificent caves in ways and methods similar to how we create our current-day marvels. In my next video, I'll discuss a site which is categorized as an ancient quarry with underground streams that you probably never heard of. If you liked my video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. You can also support me on Patreon with the link below. This is Curious Being. I'm Tina. Thanks for watching and see you next time.